All right, we had spoken a little earlier too about the Bob Marley in all the campaigns. One of the things that I'm trying to get to is where is our revolution? And our revolution has always been in our music. So it's a two-part kind of, it's more a statement but a question too. If our revolution was always in the music, what it mean that them have the Bob Marley music being part of the tourism thing? And secondly, where is that rebel music now? That was the Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. Where is that now today?
Well, if you're why art? So to answer part A of the question, why is the rebel music in the tourist board ads? You know, so it's not the rebel music them choose for those ads. Is the one love. Them now sing the I never hear I shot the sheriff or any of them real any of those more provocative tunes on an ad. So is the no problem songs them selling is not the rebel music. You know? And you just spoke about like all that Tosh now. Bob Marley well tamed, like you never hear a Tosh ad pod, you barely hear Tosh on radio, much less in a tourist board. And them afraid of that. Why? Because that one was speaking truth in a way that was just raw and uncut, and that is not friendly or familiar with the No Problem brand. So yeah, them have Bob, but is the tame Bob, the tamest of the Bobs in that music. The rebel music one side for like the real reggae lover them who go and go to dance and ends with the Rasta man and talk about the less pleasant. You know, realities where that is concerned. Whereas the rebel music of today, I mean, you have the Chronixes and the Janines and the Proteges and the Jesse Royal whose lyrics and just content, them deportment in general do provoke investigation and some kind of awareness of some kind of rebellious energy, I guess if you want to put it that way. Chronics him and Lisa Hanna always a fight on social media and where they them claim him called Barack Wasteman. So I mean, you still have the energy, but here one now, it's superficial and very like banal. And then a real like no real provoking statements or actions where people will rally behind and you know move en masse. And I almost wonder like to what extent we in a digital world refusing to participate in real life, as me did say earlier, just call like participating in real life sometimes seem like more than you can cope with or take on your own. So I mean, you have the little rebellious whisper them, yes, but them not make no ripples as to why. Enough of we asleep and who not asleep, afraid, and who not afraid, anxious and confused about what to do with it. So it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time in history, and I personally feel like we're near a breaking point as to how it will come or what it will be. You know, whether act of God or act of man, who knows. But a lot of people are uncomfortable and moving even out of that phase of uncomfortable into agitated. So, we know we see, coupled with that mood where we're facing an election in Jamaica, cannot just have them election and the liberal whop the conservative candidate. You know, America face them election, so we're in an election mode, we're in a change mode. In the case of Jamaica, we might just do a switch from one color to the next again. We might continue toiling under the weight of the color that is in place, who knows? That is a decision we're familiar with making. What will be interesting is the extent to which we take the fact that we hire these people, they work for us, we pay them, the extent to which we take that responsibility seriously and our role as citizens to participate in governance seriously, beyond just voting and whether being a politician yourself, like in your own neighborhood, make sure things govern in your own scheme, in your own complex, in your own town, that real direct like responsibility for governance, and part of which is making your voice heard. I think one of the difficulties Jamaicans have with making their voices heard is that there is no centralized or recognized channel via which we communicate with our leaders. There is no centralized mechanism for doing that, where no matter who you are, who you par with, where you can reach, you still have a line. So if I would have take on anything, is that still creating that
Some kind of
channel, centralized, that everybody have access to by some means, and that, but the onus on the other end now, which is on the leaders' end, is to make sure that the voices are heard and acknowledged. Not that you're going to do everything if a man from back to say, oh, that pothole you need for fix. No, it's not like that, but you send a message via whatever channel, you get a response that message is received, a date by which you will be contacted, and somebody actually contact you on that date, like real life efficient communication. It takes a lot of work.
For us, for a long time, our music, I think, has been a way of notifying our leaders and notifying the world that something is wrong and saying what we want. Do you think that is still the case?
It still definitely have the potential and the power to be the case. I just don't see where the creators of the music and those responsible for taking care of the creators and the music, which is more on the management and administrative side of that, things like, I don't really see where they're taken seriously, and it's almost more like by the other side, like them will answer them, but in terms of saying, come, let's sit down in a meeting and have a discussion, or actively moving forward in like a professional adult, like diplomatic way about certain very valid grouses that are aired. And like, up to now, it appalls me that nothing don't happen on TV, where who responds on government side, and one of the many people who wrote into, whether from PJ who write him open letter to Patria K who contribute couple article, where like, why would I have something on TV yet where everybody sit down to have a conversation about the many, so the musician them never try to do them thing, but them a do them thing, which is right, create music. It is probably not, many of them don't desire to go take on no political activism them way there. As far as them concerned, them put down the word sound in the music, and it is up to those who are inclined to make a move using the music as a tool to move forward in terms of getting some kind of feedback from the ones who make the decision. So it have the capacity to, but we need a firebrand there, that person who people on all sides of politics and business and community respect, like a real ambassador, like a neutral entity that people across the board regard, trust more than anything else. Because right now, I was on a mission the other day, and I'm like, tell me one politician you trust. I was asking myself the other day, like, one politician I trust. I say I can't name none.
Couldn't name one either.
And I pray to the Most High that it reveal, because it's probably an MP or a councillor somewhere who will never rise up the ranks to the point where they're on TV, because that kind of integrity don't take you very far in that in that arena. And it's just a simple fact of the matter, so that leader will not be a politician. And that is the line of reasoning that thought process led me to. That person that we will be inspired to galvanize around is not a politician. Will it necessarily be a person? Not necessarily, because Jamaicans have a way, the whole place mashed down and all of a sudden we remember say one order out of many, one people, So sometimes I wonder if it's a hurricane, the most I go to send once and for all to flatten rich and poor and force we to start over. But it is not going to be a politician who comes and says, you know what, we're just going to stop all the arms house and the corruption and do things right for a change. It's never going to happen.
Rasta has been our, I don't know, I guess the Jamaican indigenous radical movement.
Yeah.
What do you feel about Rasta in politics? Because there have been some of those, whether they fully identify as such or not, like your Damian Crawfords or your, what's his name, Lauren and all of those.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, a Rasta in politics sound like an awesome thing. But like, how many of them in parliament? 1 or 2 out of 50, 60, 70. Can't do nothing, So at the end of the day, is more that the body of governors need to choose to govern themselves and the nation in better alignment with certain principles that Rastafari teaches. Because to be honest, a couple Rastas in politics will not do anything of consequence. Most of the Rastas I have met who are qualified, people who would be trusted, they're articulate, they're fair, they're well read, knowledgeable, who could function well in a political capacity, much like the musicians, have no interest in entering that space, because politics is inherently hierarchical, top down. That is how decisions are made. Rastafari, Afrocentric communities is more a circular decision-making flow. So there is just a built-in clash that not really going to allow the two as them exist and function in this day and time on them own to really mix. It has to be a conscious decision on all parts to take all perspectives into account. And once all perspectives into account, if we're going to maintain this hierarchical top-down decision-making model where the person at the top make the call after all the ballots have been cast, then that person at the top almost need to have like guidance counselor type qualities, equally sensitive to the needs and voices of all concerned. It can't be that person at the top can't lean to one side. You're naturally going to be ineffective and unable to function the way you need to function for things to turn. So the whole system have to go mash up and build back, Tracy. It can't fix. Can't fix.
It's true. Within this system, we have Rastafari that has been persecuted in Jamaican history, now being very much a part of Jamaican national identity. Like in the tourism ads, the Bob Marley and so on, and when people think of Jamaica, that is what they think. What do you think? Why do you think that has happened, and what do you think that means for what that movement can do?
Okay, so rephrase the question to make sure I understand it. Sometimes the people who are revered and put on the face of brand Jamaica are the same ones who were persecuted at a different place in time. So how that work? Okay. It's funny because when you check the individuals, when you look into the history and the backstory of individuals who, especially creators and creative spirits, who kind of leave a major impact on a place, whether a nation or an entire planet, you find that there is more often than not a story of struggle and strife, like some kind of major challenge or obstacle that was overcome, coupled with some strong faith. So whether it's Jesus, whether it's His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, Buddha, whoever the case may be. So these people automatically just like full of soul, and they the Most High, call it God, call it Jesus, call it what you want, it inspires them with sounds and messages and words. Like most of what Bob Marley say and do, and not Bob Marley say and do it. Like let us keep it real. Like Bob Marley is this natural wonder of the world, and him say it himself. If you really listen to the man in his interviews and speak, him say this is inspired. Everything is inspired by the Most High. So don't give me no credit for none of it. And it's real talk. The reason them cannot go around these and it's mostly works of art. The reason we can't go around these works of art created oftentimes by these people whose lives were made live in hell at some place in the near or distant past is science, is pure spirit, is pure energy, is God manifesting flesh coming through these people. So yeah, them have a magnetism and an appeal that is irresistible, and is something man can't plan, build, reproduce, replicate, recreate. Nothing. Is divine ordinance. So and then on the back end, it's totally ironic that you're going to go coral guns and slaughter a bunch of people who later you're going to take one of them, make the poster boy for everything you're trying to use to attract foreign people money to your place. And it is ironic, but them say, stone that the builder refused shall always be the head cornerstone.
There seems to be a move to use the new forms of reggae, I guess, in the same kind of way. Do you think it translates, and why or why not? Like the Chronics and Janine and so on are also having concerts that are sponsored by Tourist Board and that kind of music. We're talking about a reggae revival. Like, what is this revival, and what is the way it's being used to brand us?
Alright, so what is this reggae revival? Another good question that I don't have the answer to, and I've been asking. I happen to be a friend of the person credited with coining that term, so his answer to my question, what is this reggae revival, he answered it by explaining why he chose to give a name to this apparent re-emergence or redirection of global recognition to reggae music coming out of Jamaica, when allegedly it was predominantly dancehall and Vybz Kartel that was, the focal point of that attention. And he said he really appreciated the fact that he could Google, for example, Harlem Renaissance, and buck up on a wealth of information about individuals and occurrences at that time. And he identified the modern the nowadays resurgence of reggae music, roots reggae, boof baff, dub style type of thing that is reminiscent of that Bob Marley era and beyond, King Tubby's, King Jammy's, etc. He just was compelled by it and felt that our children and beyond would want, and future generations should be able to Google something, and just like them would have Google Harlem Renaissance and kind of come up on all of these figures and facts and all of that. Now, solid intention, love it. Where this whole reggae revival notion lost me is that it didn't define for itself what it was. It was all of a sudden a bunch of foreign magazines and news